A young boy, no more than 10 years old, is standing in front of a grocery store. His hands are clutching a few crumpled bills. His pocket money for the week. He's been saving up for a toy he's had his eye on for months. But today, something unexpected happens. As he's about to step inside the store, he notices a woman sitting on the curb, her face pale with worry. She's pregnant, visibly exhausted, and her clothes are worn. It's clear she's in distress. The boy watches her for a moment, torn between his desires and the overwhelming urge to help. Without a second thought, he approaches her. "Are you okay?" he asks, his voice soft but filled with concern. The woman looks up, her eyes filled with a mixture of shame and gratitude. She tells him she's fallen on hard times and doesn't even have enough money for food. For a moment, the boy hesitates. He looks down at the bills in his hand, his dreams of that toy fading. Then, something inside him shifts. He reaches out and hands her his pocket money. She tries to refuse, but the boy insists, a small smile spreading across his face. "You need it more than I do," he says. The woman, with tears in her eyes, thanks him profusely. She promises him that one day, when things are better, she'll repay his kindness. The boy doesn't think much of it. To him, it's just the right thing to do. He waves goodbye and heads home, feeling lighter, even without the money in his pocket. Days pass, and life returns to normal. The boy's family goes about their usual routines, completely unaware of the small, selfless act that their son had performed. That is, until one evening, when they hear a knock at their front door. Standing outside is a man in a sharp suit, someone they've never met before. He introduces himself with a calm, almost mysterious tone. "I'm here to see your son," he says. The boy's parents exchange confused glances, unsure of what this stranger could want with their child. The man doesn't offer much explanation, but there's something about him, a presence, a quiet authority, that makes them listen. As they invite him in, the air grows thick with tension. Who is this man? And why has he come? The man sat down in their small, cozy living room, his eyes scanning the family. He didn't seem threatening, but there was something intense in the way he carried himself. The boy, who had been quietly playing in his room, was called down by his parents, both unsure of what this meeting was about. The boy came into the room, his heart beating a little faster, sensing the unusual atmosphere. "Is this the young man who helped a woman outside the grocery store a few days ago?" the man asked, his voice calm but direct. The boy nodded slowly, not sure how this stranger knew about his small act of kindness. He hadn't told anyone, not even his parents. His mom and dad exchanged worried glances, their curiosity now mixed with a bit of concern. The man smiled softly, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "That woman you helped is very important to me," he explained. "You showed her a kindness she desperately needed, and for that, I'm here to thank you." The boy looked confused. He hadn't expected anything in return for the few dollars he gave her. It was just something he felt he needed to do. But before he could respond, the man's tone grew more serious. "However, there's more to this story than you realize." The parents leaned in, their nerves evident. "What do you mean?" the boy's father asked, his voice a little shaky. The man took a deep breath, his eyes locking onto the boy. "The woman you helped, she's in a dangerous situation. She's been hiding, and the reason she was out there that day, in such need, is because she's running from someone powerful." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. She didn't just need food. She needed to disappear. A cold chill crept through the room. The boy's parents were visibly alarmed now, and the boy felt a knot of anxiety tightening in his stomach. This wasn't what he expected at all. The man continued, his voice lowering. By giving her your money, you didn't just help her get a meal. You helped her escape. But now, the people she's running from have taken notice. The boy's parents immediately became protective. Wait, what do you mean taken notice? Is our family in danger? His mother asked, her voice trembling. The man shook his head, his expression unreadable. Not yet. But there's a reason I'm here now. To ensure that you and your family stay safe. He explained that the woman was involved with some people who didn't take kindly to her leaving. They had resources, eyes everywhere, and they had begun tracking her movements. The boy's small act of generosity had unintentionally put a spotlight on their family, though the man reassured them that he was there to prevent anything bad from happening. What does this have to do with us? The boy's father asked, trying to mask his fear with a firm tone. The boy's eyes widened. He felt a mixture of emotions, fear, confusion, but also a sense of responsibility. He had no idea what he had gotten himself into when he handed over his pocket money that day. All he had wanted was to help someone in need, but now it seemed like that small gesture had pulled him and his family into something much bigger, something dangerous. Why us? His father pressed, clearly wanting to protect his family. We're just regular people. We didn't ask to be involved in any of this. The man stood up, his posture calm but commanding. I understand, and I don't expect you to take this lightly. But know this, the woman you helped, she's not just anyone. She carries more secrets than you can imagine, and those secrets have the power to change lives, including yours. The boy's mother, who had been quiet up until now, spoke up softly. What do we do now? How can we help her without putting ourselves in danger? The man smiled faintly, finally showing a hint of warmth. I'll make sure you're protected, but the decision is yours. The woman doesn't want to bring you into her troubles. She's grateful for what your son did, and that's why I'm here, to give you a choice. If you want to help her, it will require trust, courage, and maybe a little bit of sacrifice. The room fell silent. The boy's heart raced as he looked at his parents, unsure of what they would say. They were all caught between wanting to do the right thing and the fear of stepping into something far beyond their control. The tension in the room thickened as the man's words echoed in their minds. Their family had been living an ordinary life until now, but it was clear that this situation was anything but ordinary. The decision they made tonight could change everything. We need to think, the father finally said, his voice hoarse from the weight of the conversation. The man nodded, understanding. Of course, he replied, but know this, time is running out. With that, the man stood, his presence leaving the room feeling heavy and charged with suspense. He handed the boy a small card with a phone number on it. When you're ready, call me, he said, and then, without another word, he turned and left the house, leaving the family to grapple with the impossible choice in front of them. The door clicked shut, but the tension didn't leave with the man. The boy looked down at the card in his hand, his mind racing. Could they really help? What would happen if they didn't? The boy held the card tightly, his mind spinning with everything that had just happened. His parents sat in silence, their faces a mix of fear and uncertainty. They weren't a family used to danger, and the idea that their son's simple act of kindness had pulled them into something so complex was overwhelming. That night, no one slept well. The house was quiet, but the tension hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. The boy couldn't stop thinking about the woman, the way she looked so desperate when he gave her his money, and now, knowing she was running from something so dangerous, he felt a weight in his chest. It wasn't just about helping someone in need anymore. It felt bigger, heavier. Could they really make a difference, or would it only bring more trouble? The next morning, His parents sat him down at the kitchen table. They had talked late into the night, debating what to do. They knew the risks, but something about the situation pulled at them. They didn't want to put their family in danger, but they couldn't ignore the fact that the woman was out there, in need, and that their son had been the spark in this unfolding story. His mother spoke first, her voice soft but firm. "We don't know what's going to happen if we get involved, but we can't just turn our backs on her, can we?" The boy shook his head, already knowing what he felt in his heart. He had to help, even if it scared him. His father, always the practical one, sighed deeply. "All right," he said. "We'll call the number, but we do this carefully. We need to be smart about it." They dialed the number on the card, and within hours, the man from the night before was back at their door. This time, there was a different energy. He seemed more urgent, more focused. "Thank you for calling," he said, stepping inside. "She needs you now more than ever." The man explained that the people the woman was hiding from had gotten closer. They were looking for her, and the window of time to get her to safety was closing fast. He had a plan, but it would require their trust. The boy's role would be simple. He would be the signal, a familiar face the woman trusted. His family would meet her at a safe location and help her escape without drawing attention. The boy's heart raced, but he nodded. He knew he had to do it. His parents were nervous, but they agreed. They understood that they couldn't walk away from this now. They had already been pulled in, and helping her was the only way to make sure their family stayed safe too.